we've never had ambitions to be anything other than a hardcore band. And usually what happens with hardcore bands that are around for 5 years plus, they start to like get restless and they start to want to expand and do this and do that, or they've seen bands like get bigger and like start playing on bigger stages and make a lot of money, so they start trying to do that. And hardcore kids just have a really good bullshit detector. Like hardcore kids, if they feel like you're not in it for the love of this music, they'll like turn their backs on you like this,
This is Matt from the Daily Chorus. I'm sitting here with Aaron Bedard, lead singer of Bane.
Hey.
The Note definitely took a slightly different direction compared to previous albums. Instead of like preaching the whole straight edge thing, you guys kind of took a step back. You looked at it and you kind of analyzed it a little bit.
Yeah.
Was that more of a personal album for you in general?
Definitely. It just was like the product of having been in this band for a long time and having had the time to sort of look at everything and to just kind of take things in as a whole, not be so reactionary or not be just so eager to say a bunch of stuff like we maybe were in the earlier records, where you feel like you just finally got your foot in the door and kids are listening to you, so you just want to spit it all out and maybe you don't think it out quite as much. And with The Note, we had been a band for a long time and I had a good solid year to write these lyrics. The songs kind of took a while to come together and we demoed them, so it just gave me time to like look at everything and say what I wanted to say, as opposed to just kind of like having to jot it out or just be really reactionary to things.
Yeah. What do you attribute the long time span between album cycles to? Just random stuff?
A is we're fucking lazy as hell, to be honest, and B, a lot of people have a lot of things going on in their lives. I mean, between Give Blood and The Note, we lost a drummer, so that set us back. And then as soon as we got the new drummer up to speed, we went on a tour, and it wasn't until after the tour until we started even talking about writing songs. And then we set expectations really, really high because we were really happy with Give Blood and how well Give Blood had been received. So I think we might have even worked a little too hard on The Note, where we probably could have done it in 4 months. It took us like over a year. And now it's like dudes are getting older, dudes are in other bands and married, and it's just becoming really difficult for us to have that same sort of focus and that same drive that we had, years ago. And it bums me out because I'm ready to go and ready to do it, but it's hard to get 5 dudes all on the same page, especially as they're getting a little bit, just like their priorities are changing and things are changing. So I'm at the point now where I'm hoping maybe we could do an EP even, even if in 2008 we could just do a 4-song thing. I would be thrilled to death.
I was going to actually ask you, what do you guys, do you have any plans for writing stages?
I mean, we're in the talking stages, but we've been in the fucking talking stages since August, so it's hard for me to feel optimistic. I mean, I was kind of concerned about doing these interviews today because things are feeling so stalled right now, that like these girls that I did an interview with, they didn't really know anything about Bane, and so they were asking like, what's up in the future, and I have nothing to say. Like, we have these shows, we have some shows next week on the West Coast, and we go to Japan, and hopefully this 2 weeks we're going to spend together will spark like some sort of excitement for what will happen next, because I don't think anybody wants the band to break up, and there hasn't been any talk about like, okay, this is going to be the end, but to some degree it does feel like we gotta fucking make some decisions here. Like something's gonna happen. Because you're right, it's turning into 3 years now since the Note drop, and it feels like it went by so fast. But these girls are up here. They're like, "So we get your new record?" No, you didn't get our new record.
Does the touring? Obviously, you guys have been on tour like all year, pretty much. I mean, like the tour with Europe, tour in Europe with Have Heart, and now you guys are doing this stint. How was that European tour anyway?
It was really fun. It was very strange because we actually went on that tour with 2 members that aren't actually in Bane. Like our bass player at the last minute took a job teaching that he couldn't get away from, and like our drummer just had a baby this year. So all this stuff kind of hit us, and the tour was booked, and obviously it was going to be a big tour, and we've always wanted to do something extensive with Have Heart, so we couldn't not do it. So we had to take some members from other bands, the drummer to Outbreak drums, and the guitar player to a band called Silent Drive played bass. So it was kind of scary for us because like we'd never played a show without our bass player ever. So we go on this tour with new guys, but it was actually really good. They worked out fine. The shows were real successful. Have Heart is like huge in Europe. They're huge.
One of our users wants to know, what your opinion on Lifetime signing with Pete Wentz's Decadence label? Do you have anything?
No, I don't have any problem with that at all. I love that band. I know some of those guys, and some of those guys are great guys, and I think it's probably a good fit, and that Pete probably could do a lot of things for those dudes that a lot of smaller labels couldn't do. And Lifetime, I don't think have to prove anything to anybody. I don't think they have, I don't think they have some weird hidden evil agenda. They've never been a band that was like trying to like suck all they could out of the hardcore scene. They were definitely a progressive band who had their own sound, and that sound happens to have become very, very popular, while they've been not a band anymore. I don't think there's anything wrong with them coming back and being like, yo, this is, the music that we were making 10 years ago, kids seem to really love right now. I think their new record is great.
Yeah, it is really good, actually. I think it's some of their best stuff since Jersey's best.
It's really good. I caught them live in D.C. early last year, and I thought it was one of the best shows I saw all year. And I'm just happy for him. I hope that Pete, and all of the connections that he's made, obviously all the money that he can throw into that label will help Lifetime. Help them be able to tour and to, exist as a band.
With the shift in the music industry, has that affected you guys at all? I know, there's a lot of stuff right now, and you guys are you shy away from a lot of major label and mainstream stuff. So, but I was just wondering,
I mean, it depends on who you ask. Like, some people might even say that it's hurt us that we've had so little interest in doing that, in like finding creative ways to promote ourselves, or like, when the Note came out, EVR was totally ready to do a video. They were like ready to like back us to like, push it to the next level and stuff, and we just feel really uncomfortable. And I don't want to say we as all of us, because I think there might be some dudes in Bane who wouldn't mind taking a shot at bigger audiences, and like, there are hardcore bands that have marketed themselves well. Comeback Kid is one that comes to mind, who've like made, very good decisions and been able to cross over to a much wider audience. Like,
I think Modern Life is more starting to do that also. I was actually going to ask you about Equal-Vision for a little bit.
Sure.
As you know, they were pretty much the mecca of hardcore labels throughout the 90s.
Yep.
They were huge. And now they're going into more progressive sort of route. What are your feelings on that? Do you wish for them to, would you rather have them return to that kind of hardcore sound, or do you like the new direction they're taking?
No, I don't wish that they would go back to putting out hardcore records. There's plenty of hardcore labels that will put out hardcore records very well, and they tried that, and I think that they we're always, from the beginning, hoping to be a label that could sustain itself on a bigger level that encompassed different sounds, different ideas. And Saves the Day was the first big break for them. They sold a lot of records for them, and then that opened some doors, and they made some connections, and then the next thing you know,
too, I feel like.
Converge, absolutely, for in a totally different crowd. And then COVID came along,
and that was just
you can't turn your back away from that. Like all of a sudden, this little label that you've been running out of the fucking shed in your backyard is blowing up, and you can start to get warehouse space. You can start to hire employees. You don't have to worry about
making the warehouse is huge now.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who has a wife and kids.
Who actually makes sandwiches for the employees. The kids come in.
And who, anybody that knows him cannot say that he does not love hardcore.
Oh, yeah. No.
He's a hardcore kid through and through. He just so happens to run a business that has expanded beyond his wildest imagination, and he's been smart enough and on top of things enough to be able to grow with it, to not let it overwhelm him, and to not let, like, some 16-year-old kid be like, what the hell, why no more 10-yard fight? Like, why this 10-yard fight sold 6,000 records, and they still sign hardcore bands. They still try to back hardcore bands. They just continuously are getting fucked by hardcore bands. Hardcore bands don't pay their bills. Hardcore bands will say, we'll make all these promises, and then put out a record and then break up 2 months later and leave poor Equal-Vision with a pile of records that they can't get rid of anymore because the band isn't going to tour,
Yeah.
So I don't fault them for anything. I am just honored that they've stuck with us, that we never became marginalized by them. Like, we still feel important. We can still call any of them and get them on the phone. Like, our needs seem to be just as important to them as the needs of a band like Armor for Sleep, who's selling hundreds of thousands of records, So, and they know us. They know that we don't have lofty ambitions as far as, selling 100,000 records. We're not trying to get on MTV. We're not trying to fucking get into a bunch of magazines. We just want to be able to tour, want to be able to have T-shirts, and we just want to be able to be a hardcore band.
I think, definitely.
I think that they've respected that,
Yeah, definitely.
If Bane, for whatever reason, were to were to have another LP ready this year, I would not want to give it to anyone else but you, Biak.